Paranormal Karen, she's so spooky. Paranormal Karen, funny too. Paranormal Karen, she's so spooky. Oh, and did I mention she's funny too? Yeah, cha-cha-cha.
Hey everybody, welcome to Paranormal Karen. I think we are in October. I'm taping all these ahead, and it has been such an awesome week of, it's just been too much. Folks, we'll get to it. If we're in October, November 7th, you can see me in Idaho Falls. The 8th and 9th, you can see me at Wise Guys in Ogden. And I think there's more dates that I can't remember right at this moment, but I will get them out to you. If you can leave me a review or 5 stars or 2 stars or whatever the heck you want on iTunes or Google or wherever you listen, it would really help me out. And today's guest was one of my favorite people. We went to Australia together. He has a forked tongue. What other tidbits do I know? He is my favorite skeptic and debunker of all things in the paranormal that are phony, Calvin Von Crush. Calvin, thanks for coming back.
Oh, Karen, thank you so much for being your favorite skeptic. I know we had some words the other day on one of your posts on Facebook.
Well, we were just kidding because I never mean you, but some people can. The joke, folks, actually was Webster's dictionary describes skeptics as a dick. No, I read that wrong. Someone that's open-minded. So that was the joke. But obviously, I do not mean you because you are always kind and respectful. And, it's funny because I would love you to be the definition of a skeptic because I feel like you will meet me halfway.
Yeah. So I am one of the skeptics who sees the benefits of the occult and paranormal in the lives of the believers, where I think a lot of skeptics see it as just something negative that they're being taken advantage of. And I do see a lot of that, don't get me wrong. But I do see where belief in witchcraft or metaphysical things actually does provide a lot of positivity for people.
Yes. And, that is a good thing. And also it's a controlling thing that they need to straighten someone out.
I would agree. I think, they want to have control over their environment in general. And they really do think they are doing the world a favor by eradicating this nonsense. There is part of me that does think that if we did eradicate religions and pursuits of things that didn't have a scientific background, that the whole human race as a people could excel forward, think Star Trek, they're a very atheist society and, free college and stuff like that. So there's a lot of benefits that pursuit of science, I think, would have as a society. But I think a lot of skeptics are so heavy-handed and they're out to hurt people's feelings and make themselves feel smarter than everyone.
Right. And I'm not, I have my own controlling thing where I want to straighten out the world, but usually it's on my bike when people don't look left and right, but when they turn and hit me. But we all have that in us somewhere. But yeah, I do feel like it is, exactly what you said about making sure people know it's nonsense and that they know better. But you are a great skeptic that I really feel like you're in and you are ready to see something. You want to be a believer, but that doesn't make you, you really do need to see it to believe it, which, I will plug this man's, work all forever. I took a parapsychology class with Lloyd Arbach and it is all fact based. And if you ever, it's at the Rhine Education Center. It was fascinating. And everything has to be double checked. It has to be done by scientific standards. I think you would enjoy that class if you ever had, $200 to throw back.
Yeah, as soon as you had mentioned it to me before in conversation, and I've always wanted to be, just to add to my credentials, even as a skeptic, say, hey, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid with you guys too. I'm jumping through the hoops and I'm playing by the rules, and I still haven't seen anything. And I do want to be proven wrong. Let me go officially on the record of saying I do not have the vendetta where I want to be the guy who wins the conversation. If I'm right, And my reality is that we don't have a God, we don't have an afterlife, and we all just rot in the ground. And I will be the first one to admit it's kind of a bleak existence. However, if I'm wrong and ghosts and Nessie and vampires and Bigfoot are real, that is the world I really do want to live in. I live my life like Halloween, 365 days of the year. For anyone who doesn't know who I am, I'm always wearing black. I paint my nails. I've got pumpkins and ghosts and everything all over my apartment. And
you have a look, and we
right.
will, in fact, we will describe. You have a museum in your place.
Right. I have welcomed everything spooky and paranormal into my home. I want it to be haunted. I am that guy. I am not like a stuffed shirt with a suit and tie walking around telling people they're foolish.
And you're an artist and a tattoo artist.
I am, yeah. I've got face tattoos. I'm definitely not an author with a pipe on the back of the book.
Right. Well, you're smarter than most academics, so I hate to say you're not an academic. No, really.
You're making me blush tonight.
Oh my God. Well, you know what? I have to say, even when you go up and show, because I saw you in Australia and we talk often, and you're also part of, which I'm sure we'll get to, the Talking Board Society, the Historical Talking Board Society, right? Did I say that right?
Talking Board Historical Society.
Historical Society. I had all the words not in the right place. But you are like me. We live it. There isn't a day that doesn't go by in my life that's not paranormal. But you have a museum, you have a wall of Ouija boards, you hang out, you do the work, you do the research. So when you present something that is a fraud, I am not looking at it going, well, maybe, or he just doesn't believe. It's literally something like, tell everybody about they used to have horns. What were they? Horns that,
the spirit trumpets?
The spirit trumpets. Like,
yeah. Seance horn is also an acceptable name for it too. So you were right on the money. So yeah, I brought a couple of spirit trumpets to Australia. And it amazed me how many paranormal investigators didn't realize that was an early paranormal investigating tool.
Wow. That
was something that mediums would use in order to communicate with the dead. That was essentially the first EVP magnifier.
So and how did they use this? Was like a real trumpet, or tell everybody what it looks like?
So it's a collapsible tin cone. It's 3 pieces, sometimes 4, and they're staggered. So small, medium, large, so you can collapse them and put them in a case or travel with them very easily. Now, a big misconception that I've seen a lot of people get wrong is that these spirit trumpets collapsed so a medium could sneak them in underneath their skirt or hide them in darkness. There is no way that is accurate. There is no way you can sneak them into a dark room. They rattle. They make a lot of noise. They were meant to be physical mediumship tools. These were things that they wanted sitters at a seance to see, because the medium would produce ectoplasm, which is supposed to be the building blocks of paranormal beings, and it would attach to the spirit trumpet and it would create a voice box, and that is what it would use to magnify the voice and communicate with the sitters.
It was the ghost hunting app of its day.
100%.
That's great. And it's not where I keep my spirit horn, is definitely not under my skirt.
Are you familiar with some of the techniques that mediums would use to sneak in ectoplasm and things like that, Karen?
No, but you know what is funny? When you said ectoplasm, I forgot. Ectoplasm was not only a big deal, it made it all the way into Ghostbusters at one point, and then it was just gone. Like, you don't hear anybody talk about ectoplasm anymore, do you?
No. Dan Aykroyd's grandfather, I believe, was a spiritualist. Mm-hmm. So that's where he picked up the ectoplasm bit. And I think that's how it worked its way into Ghostbusters, because ectoplasm is a very pivotal item in the development of spiritualism when it first came out.
And it is literally the goo that's supposed to come out, or there's the old pictures of the ectoplasm coming out of, like, I think Haunting in Connecticut tried to use that as a poster, the goo that was coming out of the kid's mouth, right?
Right. Sadly, it was proven fraudulent in many, many cases. There was a woman, I'm drawing a blank on her name right now. I should have prepared for this a little better. I didn't think we were talking about ectoplasm, but she produced an ectoplasmic hand that was actually just a hand cut out of meat. And I believe she snuck that in underneath her skirt. That's where when you said underneath the skirt, it made me think of it. And I believe she had that tucked in her orifice there, Karen. So,
well, are you sure that was for mediumship purposes? It could have just been because, I carry my meat hand sometimes just so I'm not bored.
Oh, no, you're vegan. We know you don't.
Mine is made out of pea protein. So
that's the impossible.
The impossible ectoplasm. Now in vegan sources. Oh man, I miss you. We haven't talked on the phone in a while. God.
No.
Okay, so go ahead. I keep interrupting you with jokes.
Oh man, I don't know. I think that was it. I think produced an ectoplasmic meat hand was the punchline.
That's right. And and you know what? And I'm so trying to get Dan Aykroyd on the podcast because I know somebody that met him and he's nice and he will talk about it for hours, but I can't seem to find the route to get to him. So they would use these horns, and was it really to hear better or to speak better?
It was for the spirit to magnify their voice.
Oh.
So for the fraudulent standpoint, there usually was some kind of iridescent or glow-in-the-dark material on the horn. So even in complete darkness, the sitters could see the horn levitating and floating around the room. And there was usually someone who was in all black, or the medium themselves would pick up the horn and magnify their own voice. So that was how they were able to produce fraud. Using these devices.
Wow. Okay. That's fascinating already. And you have all kinds of things in your museum. Also, as anyone who knows, who probably binge listens to, usually when people listen to one episode, they listen to all of them. They know that you have the French prostitute dead body in your, or it's not, it's, what would it be embalmed? What is it? It's a skeleton. The skeleton.
It's a skeleton. Yep,
yeah.
Yep.
You let the skin go. Good for you. Yes. So you have the skeleton of a French prostitute?
Yeah. The tag that came with her said she was a murdered prostitute named Monique. So I'm the nicest guy you'll ever meet who has a dead prostitute in the basement. And to be politically correct, I believe they prefer the term sex worker nowadays. That is the term that is on the card. So I'm not disrespecting the skeleton in my basement.
Good for you. So I know the horns. What else did they used to have photography, right? That was definitely fixed.
Yes, I do have a number of spirit photos in my collection. And for anyone who doesn't know, William Mumler out of Boston was the first person to develop this technique of spirit photography. It was really just double exposure. And I don't think there's anybody alive today. There's even children who could easily identify a photograph as double exposed. But this was cutting edge technology. This was the Photoshop of its day. So when this first happened, people were blown away by it. And eventually people started noticing that some of these ghosts were out of work actors and actresses. Oh. And one of the people who noticed that this was going on was none other than P.T. Barnum. And everyone knows P.T. Barnum. You know, he's of sideshow and circus fame. Mm-hmm. And the number one problem with P.T. Barnum is everyone associates the sucker is born every minute quote with him, and he never said it. Wow. He was a showman, and he did take money from people for showing off things like the Fiji Mermaid, but he relied on people's imagination to sell the show. He didn't sell things as, real to change people's lives. He sold it as entertainment.
He wasn't a shyster.
Right, correct. So when Mumler came along and he was selling off photos and saying this was proof of the afterlife, these were people's dead loved ones coming through, P.T. Barnum really felt like he could champion the underdog here and he could protect the everyman because he really did care. I mean, there's hospitals in Connecticut that are named for him. He cared about children. He cared about animals. So he takes all of his own money and he finds another photographer, and he has this other photographer develop the technique too for spirit photos. And there's a famous spirit photo of P.T. Barnum with the ghost of Abraham Lincoln. And they present this to court. And everybody who got their picture taken by William Mumler shows up, and they testify that they are happy with the results and they believe in his process and they don't want their money back. And the case gets thrown out, and William Mumler is innocent, and P.T. Barnum is flabbergasted.
Right, because people want to believe that much.
Right. So I actually have a small stack of photographs that were taken from a camp called Silver Bell in Ephrata, Pennsylvania. This camp was well known for fraud, and they kept getting in trouble with the law. And eventually they went bankrupt, and they left a bunch of their stuff there, and there was a public auction.
Wow. Wait, and when was this when they left? How long ago?
I want to say this was, maybe 20, 30 years ago. I have to double check it, but it was a while ago.
Okay, but it wasn't the 1800s. It was soon enough.
Yeah, this isn't with recent time because, maybe the 80s, because the paperwork says the 80s on what I have. But it was all of the materials used to make fake spirit photos.
Wow.
So all the little heads cut out of the newspaper, you could see the negative with the pulled cotton to make it look like ectoplasm, and then you can see the actual person sitting there. And it's a smoking gun. It's literally them caught red-handed. This is a spiritualist camp that claimed they were communicating with the other side. They were doing readings. They were doing spirit photography, aura photographs, things like that. And here's the proof that they were frauds the whole time. Wow.
And you know what? Nowadays, even if a picture is real, you sort of can't tell because everything is so easy to manipulate that you have to be there. You have to be there and know it yourself if that's what happened.
Yeah. And, as a skeptic too, I understand like how frustrating that's got to be for an investigator who really does care, who really wants to get to the bottom of things, because you could have the best evidence you've ever found and still no one would ever believe you because of how easy it is to manipulate technology. I almost wonder if it's a better idea to switch back to film.
I know some people that do film, and that is interesting, but I think it goes to the bigger picture and sort of maybe the general feel of who we're supposed to be as people, who we're just supposed to have our own path, because, a show that I'm trying to get this guy on is talking about the Mandela effect, which the Mandela effect, right?
Yeah, that's where we've all had like a collective consciousness shift.
Yes. And so it really starts with half the people remember Nelson Mandela dying in jail. They remember the riots in the street. They remember the whole thing. And then the other half is, no, we remember he got out of jail. And it's almost like it's described sort of as like two different timelines. And there's many, many products that we remember as kids, like Fruit Loops. How did they spell fruit? Do you remember how they spelled fruit on Fruit Loops?
Wasn't it two O's?
See, half the people remember O's. I remember Fruit. Wouldn't it be funny if I had spelled fruit wrong and then I started a third Mandela effect? I split 3 timelines. But I think that's how people are in this stuff anyways, because a lot of people too will be afraid in a situation and literally I've been in a couple of investigations now that I really just one of them I had to get a hold of Tommy because it was bad. It was that bad. And he had to come do his voodoo or whatever he does. And I can see where people would the next day out of fear shift their story of, well, it wasn't like that, or kind of, I don't remember that. And I was like, really? Because you were all rolled up in a ball on the floor. But you know what I mean? Like people's brains do different things. So I think, for an investigator that is getting to the bottom of it, he has to be happy with what it is. It's kind of like I still refer back to Lloyd, who is just doing this great work. And somebody will say, well, then why don't you have a TV show? And it's sort of like, you can't argue with that because there's no there's no logic. You just have to do what you do and carry forward with it. That's fascinating because the spiritual church is actually not that bad. Did we just have an EVP? Did you just hear EVP on this?
No. Wouldn't that be something? Okay. So Listen, I'll tell you a story real quick about weird stuff that does happen to me, even though I am a skeptic.
Oh, and hold that 1 second, because I was actually going to bring this up with you. And I actually think that EVP was someone whispering, go to a break. I'm telling you, 19 minutes, 21 seconds in, right before that. I'm going to check that. Okay, folks, hang on. We'll be right back. Who do tarot readers go for tarot readings? They go to Melissa Sonova at melissasonova.com. She gave me the best reading a couple of months ago that is still resonating and helping me out now. She is authentic and to the point. You loved her on the podcast. She is the no BS tarot reader. She also has a tarot class online right now. Check it out. Just watching the promo, you will see how much fun you are going to have while you learn. Also, check out her book, which is always right beside me when I'm doing my readings or my tarot card for me in the morning. It is called Kitchen Table Tarot, and you will love it. Melissa Sonova, that's MELISSACYNOVA. Check her out. Okay, I actually can't even believe we're to the break already because
that went by so quick.
I know. Well, this is how you are. You're so interesting. Okay, you have had experiences, and sometimes you text me when they happen. So, what has been happening, especially in your place?
So I did a Skype interview for I can't talk about too much, of course. You know, TV people don't want you talking about any projects. Sure. But I did a Skype interview downstairs in my museum. And as I was talking about being skeptic, I literally had just said, I'm a skeptic. I don't believe in any of this. All the lights in my museum just went off and then went right back on.
Oh, so, I love it. I love it. Did the people on the other end, were they like, yeah, we know you did that? Or did it really? That's great.
I had to let them know I didn't do it. Like I was like, guys, that was not me. And I giggled and everything like that. Cause I'm like, of course, this is what happens.
See, but you've also, you've texted me a couple of times when lights in your place have shifted or gone off or on.
It was, man, I looked down for a second at my phone. And then when I looked back up, all the remote control candles in my house had gone on.
Wow.
But I had turned them off on the timer for automatic mode. I hadn't put them on off. So that's what happened with that one. But I remember right when I texted you, I was like, Karen, oh my God, this is what just happened. And my heart was racing. So.
I know it happens. It is, that is the one thing I'll always say about fear is it puts you in the moment. It puts you in the moment. And, you know, it's funny, too. I asked about that EVP because I don't know if you saw it. You probably did it on my Facebook page. But I literally taped one of those funny Paranormal Karen show, one of the little comedy series that I do. And I taped it in Virginia City. And I think I played it on one of the episodes way back. But somebody on YouTube caught it and said, did someone say kill her at 29 seconds? And I went back and it was a Class A EVP. And then I got freaked out because I pulled the sound I deleted the sound off of the tape when I made it so I could do a voiceover. So I was like, well, wait a minute. So was that voice in Virginia City or was it in here in my apartment? Who wants to kill me? Where are they? Kind of thing. But there's that moment when you first hear it where you will never be more present and in your body when that fear hits. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you got some new products or some new things. What do you have?
Man, let me tell you, this found me.
We just lost you completely.
Wow. See, Karen, this is what happens. We were talking about
iPhone's messing up.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, you sound much better now, but you almost went into slow motion.
Huh.
Okay. Wait, let me write this down. 22:53. Okay, I'm gonna check all these numbers of time and see at the end what's going on. But actually, if you do have a ghost and they're playing with you, let's have them do it one more time. I know I'm a little out there for this, but if we're gonna have troubles, because it sounded like your phone slowed it down. Okay, so what new products do you have?
So sometimes I get really, really lucky and I wake up and I check my email and there's something amazing waiting for me. And this is what happened. Somebody watched my show on Amazon Prime, shameless plug, The Occult Collector. We have one episode up for free if you're already a member. You should go watch it. Well, this lady watched it and went on and found me on Instagram And she said she had in her possession 3 feather death crowns, all from one family. So that sounds really cool, just the way I described it, right? 3 feather death.
What is a feathered death crown?
I'm happy you asked. A feather death crown.
Do I have one of those and not know it? I better beware.
You probably don't have one, especially because you're vegan, because it's for feather stuffed pillows.
Oh.
This is an Appalachian folklore myth that if a person is laying on a pillow and they're on their deathbed and you find one in the pillow, if you pull it out and break it up, it stops them from dying. And adversely, if you find one in their pillow after they've died, it means that they've been carried to heaven by angels.
Okay, and it's just a pillow? I mean, a feather?
It's a perfect little round mat of feathers. So picture like a circular crop circle of matted feathers in like a little round perfect circle that could fit inside like a coffee mug.
Oh, so wait, so this is just something that you would find in the pillow that nature made?
It's a phenomenon, yeah.
Whoa, and they're perfect.
Yeah, they're you couldn't weave these feathers by hand, Karen. It's just something that happens. I can't explain it as a skeptic. I know it's not magic. I know it's not.
Right.
It's got to be something to do with like the roundness of somebody's head, positioning, like moving back and forth while they're sleeping, combined with like heat or anything like that that's changing it. I know there's something logical that's causing this. I don't know what I would need to reproduce it as an experiment in a lab. I don't know if I've got enough time or patience to try, but they are fascinating. And people save these for hundreds of years. They're family heirlooms. And that's what these are. 2 of them are from grandparents, and 1 of them is from an 11-year-old girl. And these are all from people who have passed. They've been passed down through generations.
Okay, so there's a couple of things, because I think I have a memory foam circle in my pillow. Holds all my terrible memories. So someone, this is a weird question, but why are you? So someone is dying, so you go in their pillow and try and find one of these, and you break it, and they don't die.
Correct, because it's an omen of their impending death.
Okay, but otherwise someone dies and they open the pillow and there it is and they didn't break it, so the person's already passed.
Right, the person has passed, and it means they had safe passage to heaven via angel.
Wow. I can't wait to go on your Instagram and see this.
Yeah, they're gorgeous. They're really stunning. I had a teeny tiny one for a little while, and it was one of my prized possessions. The ones that I picked up recently dwarf that tiny one.
Oh, wow. And your phone did it again, just real quick. But for people that don't know what we're talking about, there it is again. It's like a weird thing. It's like an effect is going on with your phone. And Calvin and I were talking about how since this new download into the iPhones, I think they want you to buy a new one. I think they want us to get 10s and 11s, but it has ruined the sound and it just keeps getting weird. How big are these?
Like I said, they could probably fit inside of a coffee mug, about the circumference of a soda can, maybe a little bit.
I wonder if they've ever been found, like on the bird, or if you have a lot of birds, if you ever find them like where would you keep them, in a coop, something like that, in the living room?
No, I would have definitely heard about that. Do you know what's a really weird natural phenomenon that happens with animals? Not chickens, but with rats and rodents and squirrels. Have you ever heard of a rat king?
No.
So,
I like that already.
This is very disgusting. So rat kings are a natural phenomenon where the tails of rodents get matted together because they've either gotten stuck in horsehair or glue or tree sap or something like that. And then the animals can't escape. So they essentially become one organism that has to like run around and try and fend for itself and eat, because they can't break themselves apart if they're not smart enough to. And sometimes you'll get ones that die.
Wow.
And so you're literally like struggling to survive next to your dead relatives and that are slowly rotting next to you while you're looking for food and whatnot.
Wow.
And
sounds like my family. Yeah. Wow.
Well, I want to. Oh, I heard that. I wonder. My phone vibrated too. I wonder if that's just a message coming through.
Oh, maybe check and see if you got a message. I'd be surprised if you didn't. Something's going on.
No, nothing, Karen.
You know, and it's so odd. And I did just the other day do the podcast with the fairies, and you know how I feel about fairies.
Yeah, you don't like them, correct?
Well, you know what? I'm taking a new attitude, and it's not that I don't like them. It's that I respect them, but I would prefer space from them because this is so stupid, but this guy his name was Dr. Richard Sugg. Look him up. He was so great. And, he has done all the research, and he's been to Ireland and this and that. And I was like, yeah, how do you get rid of fairies? And he was like, well, mostly it's best if you just respect them. And I was like, it like kind of blew my mind in a weird way. I was like, oh, respect things. That's a great idea. Like, I was like, wow, respect people and things. What are you talking about? So I'm trying to take that more attitude and not say that I dislike them, although that comedy bit is still working out on fairies. So, I love this. So this lady, she just gave them to you, or she sold them to you?
I did buy them. Yeah. I do like giving people honest prices for things. One, because
karma.
It's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
I just do it for the right thing, but karma, we can go with that too. But also, you never know when they're going to find something new, and I could buy it a second time too. So I like people coming back time and time again.
Oh, and just in case our listeners have something, what do you look for? Anything?
I look for anything related to occult and paranormal history. Now, I do like items that people say are haunted and cursed and things like that. But if it's like something you brought home from Goodwill in the past week, that's not something I'm looking for. If this is something that has plagued your family for generations and you guys have letters and photographs and things like that and there's documentation, that's something that I'm looking for. But if it's just something that you got recently and it gives you the willies, that's not something that I'm after. If you have a homemade Ouija board that your grandmother made and you definitely want that out of your house, I am your man.
Yeah, you take all the Ouija boards, don't you?
I am the home for wayward Ouija boards.
Yes. And
I will take any Ouija board that you believe is haunted because we actually sell them and rehome them through the Talking Board Historical Society.
And have you got the Talking Board Historical Society actually is I saw your friends talking about it, and they have used Ouija boards. They do not believe they're bad, but do they use them and have results where like they believe it, or is it more of just the history and this is what we wanted to show you?
Have I connected you with my friend Karen Dahlman on the board yet?
I think I saw, she did a video with, was it her husband or the other? They were the two. I would love to talk to her. Let's have her on.
You should. You guys, and she lives in California too. I think you guys should get together. You guys should just get together and hang out. Cause we're doing Sage Paracon together and she's going to be my spooky liaison over there, just like you were my spooky liaison in, Australia. Cause she's a believer and me and her get along great, because you guys both have similar mentalities where you don't dig your heels in, you actually listen to what other people have to say.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah. And you guys would be a riot to listen to talk on a podcast. So we've got to make that happen.
Okay. But then I'm going to drop that. Yeah. And that's going to happen. Okay, great. Okay.
She believes in Ouija boards. She actively uses them for communication, and she believes they are positive tools for connecting with the other side.
Right. So she believes they're simply like anything. They're like whatever you would use, like tarot cards.
Right. Go forth with intent.
Great. Okay. Wonderful. So, this is going to be perfect because right at the next break, I think my batteries are going to run out. So I'll change my batteries and we'll get back. But, that's a fascinating, I love that thing. What else do you have? What's new?
Actually, while we're still talking about Ouija boards and the TBHS, we have a gigantic event coming up in Salem on October 12th. We are unveiling the world's largest Ouija board that we have called Ouijazilla. It is bigger than a brontosaurus. It weighs as much as a full-grown African elephant. And I believe we can park 5 semi-trucks on it, full 18-wheelers. And it was hand-built by our Vice President Rick Schreck, and we are putting it together on the Salem Common.
Oh, so hold on a second. You went in a bad cell area. That sound I recognize. Okay, October 12th. You put it together. I got to Rick's name, and then it went crazy.
Rick Schreck, the Vice President of the Talking Board Historical Society, hand-built Ouijazilla. It is as big as a brontosaurus. It weighs as much as an African elephant, and you can park 5 full 18-wheelers on it. This thing is massive, and I believe we might have a big name company coming out, believe it or not. I can't really say their name. We're trying to hype it up. Yeah, they're not sponsoring the event, but they're kind of into hyping things. They have museums and stuff like that. You guys may have seen them, and they're in a couple big cities. New York's got one. We tried talking to Guinness, but Guinness is kind of hard to work with.
Oh, I know who it is.
Yeah, you just figured it out. But we do believe we are breaking the world record, and hopefully Guinness will take notice of this very soon, and we will get the official title.
Are you going to have a little car shaped like a planchette that people can ride over the board?
We have a planchette that works. It has wheels and everything, and I tell you, it's about as big as a Honda Civic.
You know what is killing me? I fly home October 12th. So I might see. Are you going to be out there on the 13th, or is this just the 12th, and then we fold it up?
It's going to be there for, I think, a week.
Oh, maybe I'll come down.
Yeah.
I would love to see it. That would be a great Paranormal Karen episode, too, one of the little funny ones.
Yeah, because, we'll probably have a couple people from the TBHS still in town, and I can connect you if you want to do a quick little episode with them, too.
Oh, that would be great. Okay. In fact, I wonder if I could fly down on the 11th. I'm going to see if I can change my reservations and just come for the unveiling. Oh, that would be great.
Karen, that would be so good. Oh, we'd love to have you.
What time is it? Because where my parents are, well, we'll figure this out after. Ridiculous. People don't want to hear how long my drive is. It was a good podcast till she started Googling what route she was taking to the thing. Oh, that would be so fun.
They were just talking to each other. They forgot there was an audience.
I know. So anyone in the Salem area, that's October 12th. That's got to be super fun. You could sit on the yes or no, right? Is it going to be down or standing tall?
Yeah, it's going to be flat on the ground, and I believe we are going to be taking donations to let people walk out on the board and take pictures. Because, of course, we are a nonprofit historical society. We work very, very hard to preserve landmarks and get grave markers for people who have done big things for Ouija and talking boards. These are unsung heroes in paranormal history.
And what if you really do open like a portal, and something comes through? Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah, and then you don't have to donate any money. You just run like hell.
You're right. I couldn't find the joke there, but I do know that yesterday I had a bad can of Pringles, and I never have bad Pringles, and I think I jumped to a timeline where there was bad Pringles. So maybe we can open a timeline through the Ouija board where Pringles are good again. So, all right, folks, hold on one second. We will be right back. Psychic medium and buddy of mine, Terry Huberman, is with me today. Terry, you've given me so many great readings and healings, and now you've got everything together in one package. Tell me about that.
I sure do. So this package has energy healings, readings, and coaching.
Coaching, that's the best. And people, they buy the package. You give them coaching once a week?
Yeah, so we meet online once a week, and in between there's support as well.
And who would this be for?
This is really for folks who are in indecision, needing to get into their intuition because they're blocked or stuck. They need to move forward. And so we explore what the root causes of the problems are.
And helps them get out of their own way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Terrific. And what can they expect from this?
Sure. So moving from anxiousness to confidence, accessing their freedom, joy, and security, and really being in alignment with themselves so they have that clear direction, so they know, aha, this is what I need to do next to reach my goals.
So now there's something that's free so people can talk to you and see if this is for them.
Yeah, absolutely. On my website, terryhuberman.com, there is a page where you can click, and it's the intuitive coaching package. And there is a button there that says schedule a free call. So you go ahead, schedule it. We'll get on a call and you can learn more about this program, and we'll see if this is a good fit for you or not.
See if there's chemistry.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It's an odd date.
TerryHuberman.com, TerrieHuberman. I highly recommend it, folks. All right. So October 12th in Salem. I hope to meet you there, everybody. Okay. So you have that. What else you have going on? You're going to the UK, right?
I am going to the UK. Oh man, I'm going to get these dates wrong. I think it's the 7th to the 11th, Sage Paracon. It's one of the highest rated paranormal conferences in the world. I will be lecturing and bringing some items from my collection. I'm doing my presentation I like to call Show and Hell, like show and tell, but a little spooky. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to bring yet, but I think I'm bringing some big guns over there.
You have so much stuff. You have so much stuff. It's great. And also, yeah, look for Dr. Richard Sugg there. He was brilliant. Yes. Okay. So so you have the prostitute, and I know you had the internet show for a little while on that, on the other network. What other than the skeleton, what are some of the things you get the most reactions out of people where they either have disbelief or they're fascinated or they have the most questions about?
I've got the live two-headed turtle, which isn't too paranormal.
Right.
But people are often wondering about how things work with him. Usually how they eat and how they go to the bathroom are the number one questions. And the answer to both of them is often.
So, so people come, you have this fabulous museum, all this historical knowledge, and they want to know how your turtle poops.
Yes.
Okay. And how does it poop?
So each head controls 3 legs. It's 2 heads, 6 legs. It's really conjoined. It's not like one whole body with 2 heads. And I believe they have their own heart, their own lungs, and everything towards the end kind of becomes one merged digestive system.
Wow.
Because there's only one exit right there.
Wow, that's interesting. And that's actually a happy creature, isn't it? He doesn't care.
Yeah, I don't even know if they notice the other one is there. Both heads eat. Both heads have 2 completely different personalities.
Wow, that's fascinating. Okay.
And they're my baby boys. You know, I will say, like, every once in a while I see other people who keep exotic 2-headed animals. They get a lot of backlash from people who say, how could you let this thing live? It must be suffering. And these things are in the lap of luxury. Like, I'm building them a terrarium right now that's costing me hundreds of dollars to build. It's going to have a waterfall and living plants and everything. These things are spoiled.
Well, you know, that's, Sonia, the animal communicator, she, like, when a dog loses a paw or a eye or whatever, we're like, oh my God, how sad. And she says the animal is just like, well, it was like this and now it's like this. Like that's the adjustment. It was like that and now it's like this. And they just make the adjustment. They don't feel bad. They don't feel pity. They don't feel guilt. So yeah, let the 2-headed creatures live. So what, when, and I want to, cause I know you have so many things and now I'm drawing a blank and I've seen so many things have you seen, the Spiritualist Church? That was actually pretty close. Any real frauds, whether it was, and I don't like to talk too much about the TV shows because we know they have to get evidence. So there's, I figure it's half and half. Some of it's real, some of it's faked. So I don't even care about that. You watch the shows to be entertained or find out new equipment. Have you seen anything lately where you really grabbed onto it, like that's a hoax, or anything that's been going on, say, in the 2000s?
Yeah. Karen, there are a couple people out there right now that I have my eye on, and I really do try to play nice, and I don't want to name names or anything like that. But I haven't met them in person myself. And as a skeptic, I do believe I have to do my due diligence and go out and shake their hands and experience them as a person. before I can make the full critique just from what I've seen as their online presence or seeing them on TV and stuff like that. So I will not start a smear campaign or anything like that. But I'm hoping that I will meet some of these people very, very, very soon.
And these would be mediums or people making predictions or stuff like that?
No, not even. It's just some other people who are involved in the paranormal who are making a buck, just purporting things to be what they are and what they aren't. And I don't know, Karen, I really care about you, and I fully support you doing divination and things like that, because I know how much it means to you, and I know how much it means to your clients, and you've even done it for me. And there's times where you are uncannily accurate. And when
but sometimes you and you actually have a friend that you do this when you see something you're like, that's not right. You are very interested in uncovering it and sort of taking it away so people don't give them tons of money, which I agree.
Right. And sometimes you just trust your gut. Does that happen to you too, Karen, being in the paranormal field? Are there people that you see are just out there to lie to people, make a buck, that are faking evidence and they want to be the first? You've got to identify some of these people too, correct?
Yeah. And when it comes to like psychics and mediums, what I see more is people that wish they were psychic or think they are, but they don't do the work, more so than that somebody that's out. But, because less than the paranormal stuff, more in my field, which is psychics or tarots or mediums. But, it's, and here's a stereotype that I shouldn't give, but you see the light, love readings or whatever, and you go in and you kind of get a decent reading, and then the person needs $5,000 to do this, or I can change you, but I got to do all the work here. So you got to give me money. That's when I get really like, no, that's not right.
Right. So two people that I know that do divination, you and my friend Gary, one of the things that really turned the tide in your favor for, in as far as my heart goes, is that you guys have both told me that there have been times where you have refused to take money because you either didn't get a good reading that you were happy with,
right?
And B, you felt like the person wasn't opening themselves up and stuff like that.
Right.
So, that really opened my eyes to how you guys operate. At least that doesn't go the same for everybody,
right?
I'm sure there's people out there who don't care what a card reading has to say or who came through or whatnot, and they just want the money. It just blows my mind. It really does. Just the audacity to do things.
Right. Because it is an emotional, personal thing for people to have a reading. And sometimes they're really looking, and sometimes they're so, the other thing kind of new now, well, now we're talking about tarot, but, sometimes I find people that want that one answer, or is she gonna be with me the rest of my life? Or there's this like grabbing of permanence that I have to say, whoa, this is, you know what I mean? Like, That's what they want, or they want that answer. So they will ask the same question 7 times, which takes the energy out of the question. So then it gets a muddled answer the more you go. But to play on that, you would have to be such a sociopath or so cold-hearted. And I don't mean somebody that sometimes my heart goes out to them, and I almost, it turns more into like, hey, let's just slow down. And you kind of want to impart wisdom of don't hold on so tight, or don't get attached to that idea of permanence. But to look somebody right in the eye and just lie to them to get the money, I can't even imagine the heart that could do that, or the heartlessness that could do that.
Yeah. So as far as my field, specifically the one that I can speak to is collecting rare objects. I think because now that Ed and Lorraine are both gone and nature abhors a vacuum, you're going to see a lot more people rising up with haunted objects. And I've been doing this for 10 years, Karen. I have a number of things in my collection that should be highly active and shaking the rafters and chains at night and keeping me up. and I sleep like a baby. Nothing happens. Maybe my lights flicker.
We should do videotape though. We'll see you sleeping and the whole room just spinning. And then they're like, oh no, he's getting up, and everything goes back to where it was.
I'm out cold, but I'm floating 3 feet above the mattress and I don't even know it.
Yes, exactly. And do you ever, this is kind of a weird, question.
A weird question on your show?
On
Never,
my show,
Karen.
I know. From me, whatever. Do you ever hear, like, I live in a building that is old, and Hollywood is pretty haunted anyways. You have so many strong personalities. But sometimes I hear things where I literally have to pop my head out at night out of the bedroom and go, everyone out, because it's almost like I can hear people walking all through the living room. But it's so funny when Tommy comes, because Tommy stays at my place when I'm on the road, because when he works in Hollywood. When Tommy comes, it's like I come home, it's like the place has never been quieter. There is not a peep, there is not a move, there is not a creak in the building, because everything is like, oh, Tommy's here, we got to go. Do you ever hear things that would be, I know that buildings settle. I know when the people beneath me get up to go to the bathroom at night, my wall creaks. But do you ever hear things in your place that you're like, I don't know what that is?
I can't say for certain. No, I mean, I share a wall with another condo. So I definitely know I can hear my neighbors, and we share a bathroom wall too. So
you can hear more than you want.
There's little left of imagination. I can tell when it's Taco Tuesday. And I do have a cat now too, Karen.
Oh,
I never had a cat before, so we got to talk to
Sonia about your cat,
right? Yeah, see if Sonia can talk to the cat, see if there's anything down here. Because the cat used to hate the basement, but she likes it now. The cat goes down there all the time with me.
Well, I was just listening to a book on cats and dogs, and cats are actually, did this cat find you?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Cats are if something was supposed to, a spirit or a walk-in or walk-on was coming at you, the cats take those. That's what a cat's job used to be, to take that or block that or get rid of it. But that's very interesting that the cat found you. It's not a black cat, right? Because they wouldn't stereotype you.
Yeah, it is.
It is a black cat. Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. What's the cat's name?
Her name was Oz when I first got her, but I named her Elvira.
Oh, I bet she likes that. You know what? We have to get you and Sonia on the same episode at one point. I'll do a paranormal catch up and we'll do 20 minutes with the two of you, because
I would love it.
She's actually moving right now and has so much going on, but I would love to do that, because I really, I wonder if I bet you did have something in your cellar or something that, if you're not just on that vibration, and that does not mean higher or lower, I do think some things don't bother people. I think, yeah. And when they say that in a house that's haunted, one person might get all the attention so that the thing wants others to think they're crazy. But okay, so we have time. Tell us one more object, and then we're going to go to all your dates and places and where people can find you.
Oh man, what do we want to talk about? Let's talk about Ouija boards a little bit more, because I know they are such a hot topic in the paranormal.
Right.
But the focus of my collection as far as Ouija boards go is I'm not looking for the ones in the boxes. I like one-of-a-kind handmade Ouija boards, and I have some that are old. I might very well have the oldest Ouija board that we know of.
Wow.
It was a gift from Robert Murch, the president of the Talking Board Historical Society. I recently went to Colorado, where he lives, and helped him decorate his Ouija museum that he has in his basement. This is what happens when you become a collector. You have way too much crap.
I know.
You have to put it on display.
He's in Denver?
Yeah, he's in Denver, Colorado.
I was just there, and I'm going back. I got to go to this. Okay.
Karen, I will connect you. Yeah, you can do an episode over there. He's a great guy. You guys will get along great.
Wonderful.
But he gave it to me as a gift for helping him organize his collection and take care of everything. And it's one of my prized possessions now, but we believe it's from the 1850s. And this board, it could very well be the oldest, because the Ouija board didn't get patented until 1892.
Wow. And does it have a lot of these and thous in it?
Yeah, it curtsies when it says hi. It definitely doesn't have a layout like a regular Ouija board. Its ends are backwards. It's definitely very, very quirky. So that's what I look for. I want something that people built to play with it. Because you could have a Ouija board sitting in a box that nobody ever touched for 50 years. You find it in a closet. If somebody went through all the trouble to make it with paint and their own hands and a saw, they made that thing to play with it.
Right. Now, did you don't have a Chinese Ouija board because they have like 400 letters. Can you imagine how long that would take?
Karen, there's actually a Japanese Ouija board.
Oh, a Japanese, but it's the Chinese that have all the letters, right? Japanese.
I think Japanese has two different styles of lettering too. I think they have kanji and katakana, something like that. But they have tons and tons of characters. But there is a form of Japanese Ouija board that I can't remember the name. I'll send you that too. But yeah, there is one, and it doesn't have a lot of characters, but it's got a buttload.
Wow. And that's funny. I haven't heard buttload in a long time. Is that on the Ouija board too? Buttload? How many children will have buttload? You don't have a divot box, do you?
I don't have a divot box. However, if you go on eBay right now, there's probably 17 for sale.
Wow. And those are just hokey ones. We know there might be a real one.
Of course. Yeah. I think a real Dybbuk box has got to be quite rare. And if anybody says they've got one and it's real, I definitely think they've got swampland for sale in New Jersey too. Right.
Because, the only one story I know of where it really had at least a story with it, they found it in a wall. Somebody had walled it up. So that might be, at least somebody was afraid of it. We know that if they buried it in a brick wall, they were in the cellar, they knocked it down and it came out. But that was the only one I know of. And other than that, because I know if you had one in an antique store, your customers would just be dropping like flies.
Oh, I have something really cool that you just made me think of. I have a witch bottle. It's a tiny little talisman, and it was sealed with wax, but somebody broke the seal. And when you pull the lid off, there's 5 little frozen Charlotte dolls. Do you know what those are?
No.
They're these tiny little porcelain dolls. They're called Frozen Charlottes, and they made them after this poem about a girl named Charlotte who refused to wear a jacket because she wanted to look nice for a party, and she froze to death. But there's
what a way to get a kid to wear their coat. Come on.
I swear, it's a song or a poem from like the Victorian era, but they're these little porcelain dolls, and there's 5 of them, and they're all bound by red string, and they're all inside this jar. And I believe it is a protective talisman for a family.
Wow.
I was told it came from the 1930s, and it was from a Scottish American festival. So somebody must have encountered like a folk healer or a witch of some sort, and they got this protective talisman for their family. And from what I've read about witch jugs, you either kept it on a windowsill inside of your house, or you buried it under the threshold of the house in order to protect people.
Wow. Now these are the only objects I have around my house. And Tommy has made me some, what he calls juju bags, which are just crystals and herbs and whatever. But everybody gives me a witch ball. I have a lot of witch balls. You know those, right?
Yep. The pretty glass things you hang in the window, right?
Yeah, those are pretty. And I have because they say that fairies don't like iron. Of course, you could just respect them. So I have a horseshoe, and I have I'm very attracted to skeleton keys for some reason. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why. I just think they're probably the most fascinating, just old piece of what happened here. What was this used for? They look like they could tell a story. But I think that's all I have. I have Trader Joe's sometimes sells these pots that you put your plants in that look like little skulls. I have a couple of those, but I don't think those are keeping anything out.
Well, you keep all your crystals and stuff around too, right? Doesn't black tourmaline absorb negative energy? Don't you have some of that?
Yeah, I'm terrible about crystals, though. In fact, I had some huge ones, and I gave them to someone that was sick and dying, and everybody was like, "Yeah, don't take those back."
Even though I'm not really an occult practitioner, and I don't believe it in anything, but I do decorate my home with it. So I have horseshoes over my doors. I do have garlic hanging up over my door too. And believe it or not a single vampire, so it's working.
Oh, nice.
I have a hagstone hanging over my basement door.
What's a hagstone?
A hagstone is a stone that has a circle that has naturally eroded through it, and they are said to ward off evil as well.
Oh.
And you can usually find them on your own if you walk along the shores of a lake or anything like that. It was a gift for my birthday from a friend of mine who actually is sensitive. I believe she identifies as a psychic medium. Her name is Kimberly Popey, and she's actually a big supporter of the TBHS. So hopefully that little shout out made her smile. I'm going to tell her to listen.
Good.
So she finds them all the time. She just went to the beach the other day and she found 3 of them. So it's funny who believes in the paranormal finds them so much.
Well, I am getting ready to do an episode do one on my own about synchronicity in the Matrix and all the quantum physicists that are into that. And it's pretty fascinating about how you do bring that to you. And they literally talk about how if you become this type of being that seeks this out, you find it. But you find these objects, or they find you, or a cat finds you. I'm loving that you have a cat.
Yeah, and Karen, she really did find me too. So I'll tell you the story real quick. I was leaving my apartment late one night to go get some food, and there was this mass of like black laying in the leaves. And I get out of my car, and it was this cat that looked very, very sickly and injured. And I tried for days to save this cat, and I eventually called a cat rescue, and we could not save it. And if we saved it, I was going to take it in. So I had already made up my mind I was going to get a cat, and this was an all-black cat as well, I must add.
Huh.
So I was going to go to this animal rescue event that was supposed to start at 10 a.m., but it ended up getting pushed back, and I had to go to work. So I didn't get to go, and I was kind of bummed out because they had this giant male cat that I was going to go get. Again, all black cat. I'm at work. Our shop manager is volunteering at the event, and she texts me, and she goes, somebody just surrendered a little girl black cat, and I know you said you'd rather have a girl black cat. And I'm like, well, does she do tummy rubs and headbutts? Because if I get a cat, I want to be super, right? Like, I want the sweetest cat. I don't want something that's going to claw at me. And she goes, she does. And I go, well, I can't get down there. She goes, I'm already on my way. So she brought this cat to the tattoo shop, and we brought her in the office, and she shut the door, and I walked in the door, and I sat down on the couch, and this cat, I'm telling you, she came and she sat and she curled up right next to me and sat on the couch quietly and paid attention to me and nobody else.
I have to tell you, there's 2 things. First of all, I think the cat that died outside because animals switch bodies very easily. So like if Courage wasn't going to come to me in this Papillon body, I would have found a dog. They switch all the time. That's what Sonia says. And I think that first cat was the one that was supposed to be with you, and it just showed up like that, which also it's very weird because the way I got Courage is I didn't know anything about dogs, and now I don't think I could go to the pound now. And I went to the pound, and the guy said, yeah, come at 1 o'clock and pick up that dog. It was like 1 or 12. And it's going to be an auction, so you probably won't get it because these little dogs go up in the thousands. So at the end of the week, I go, well, I just want to see that dog one more time. I go in, the lady goes, I don't know why he told you 12. It's at 11. So I get at 11. There's only 3 of us, and they have kids and this and that. And I bid, and I go $550. That's as high as I can go. I hit $550, and everybody else walks, and my credit card slides through, and I sign it, and they open the door. There's about 100 people waiting in line to get Courage, and they're all screaming, he said the dog went on auction at noon. And I was like, it was such a divine, I think these animals come to us in that divine way.
And listen, Karen, I am not a cat person. I do not love cats. I am not one of those crazy cat people, but I love
Not yet.
my cat. Like, no, I love my cat, and I would crawl through heaven and hell on broken glass to do anything for this cat. Yeah, she throws up or she goes to the bathroom on the floor, and it doesn't even faze me.
Oh yeah,
And
isn't it amazing how fast that doesn't matter? Like, do you need something
it's just like
else?
whatever. The first day it happened though, like my first day when I had her in the house, there was like glitter crystals on my bed, and she had puked on the floor. I called 2 of my closest friends, and I'm like, this cat's got to go. I've had enough. So they say we train our pets, or they train us. She's totally got me trained.
All right, so we're going to get you on with Sonia soon enough. Calvin, I can't thank you enough. Tell everybody they can find you October 12th, and hopefully we'll find out at in Salem on the biggest Ouija board ever.
Yeah,
Ouijazilla. And in the UK, we think that's the 7th, November 7th through 11th.
Yep, November 7th to the 11th or 10th, and that is going to be at Sage Paracon. And I'm also speaking in Brooklyn on October 2nd. If this plays in time before Mark of the Devil, you can follow that. I believe it's a morbid anatomy event.
Wonderful. Awesome. Calvin, I can't thank you enough. Everybody, you can find Calvin at The Occult Collector on Instagram. He always has the greatest pictures and stuff, and it's just so fascinating. Thanks again, Calvin.
Karen, thank you so much for having me. I had a blast. That went by so fast.
I know it did. And everybody, if you can leave me a review somewhere, send me an email if you have a synchronicity or a ghost story or anything. I'm getting ghost stories to talk to with my sister again. Check out karenrontowski.com or paranormalkaren.com. Hey, my CD is out. I guess I should say that. It's doing really well. It's on SiriusXM and it's somewhere else. I don't know what I'm supposed to be promoting here. Make a tarot appointment. Thanks to Mike at Uno Rising Media. Thanks, everybody. I will see you next week.